I discovered that my husband was using our family fund to support his pregnant mistress, locking up my assets in trusts, and cutting off my escape route step by step: green card, credit cards, medical insurance, until I was forced to sign an agreement giving up everything. I didn't cry. I didn't make a scene. I didn't file for divorce. I went home, signed documents, turned on recorders, preserved evidence, and watched them keep making mistakes, until the day I submitted the full video, the trust documents, and the transfer records to the court. The control system he had so carefully designed turned on itself and swallowed him first. I picked up Daniel's white lab coat, just like I had every day for the past 3 years, and prepared to iron it. When the steam rose, I smelled something unfamiliar. Not hospital disinfectant, not the citrus scent I use. It was a very sweet floral fragrance, thick, clinging, stubbornly stuck to the cuffs. I leaned in and smelled it again. My heart skipped a beat. This wasn't something brushed on by accident. This scent had been sprayed, deliberately, heavily, so no one could miss it. Just then, the door opened. Daniel was home. My husband, the youngest chief of cardiothoracic surgery in New York. He didn't look at the lab coat in my hands. He didn't look at my face. He walked straight into the living room and placed his tablet on the table. "Lily is pregnant," he said. His voice was calm, as if he were saying, "There's a meeting tomorrow." I didn't move. The iron was still in my hand. "I've already taken care of everything." He tapped the tablet. The screen lit up. "This is the prenatal exam report. The baby is healthy." I walked over, saw the medical terminology, saw the ultrasound image, the tiny dot. Then I saw the report number. It wasn't a hospital ID number. It was Family Fund Project 003. The family fund. Our family fund. The money meant for buying a home, investing, planning our future. What does this mean? My voice trembled. Daniel looked up and finally met my eyes. His expression was serious, like he was lecturing an intern. "Your position won't change, Evelyn. You're still my wife." He paused, just with a different function. A different function. The word pierced my ears like a needle. "Then what about love?" I asked. My voice was so soft I could barely hear it myself. Daniel was silent. He counted 3 seconds. I watched him count 1, 2, 3. "Love is an emotion for young people," he said. "It doesn't suit the stage I'm in now." Then he added, as if afraid I wouldn't understand, "Marriage, to me, is a long-term allocation. You're the stable part. Lily is another component." There was no expression on his face as he said it, as if he were saying, "Plan A doesn't work. We'll switch to Plan B." That night, I lay in bed staring at the ceiling. Daniel slept beside me, breathing evenly, as if nothing had happened. One word kept repeating in my mind: replacement. I hadn't been suddenly abandoned. I had been systematically replaced, like a software upgrade where the old version is phased out. Then I remembered something. For the past 3 years, there had been a fixed monthly expense from our family fund. Daniel said it was an investment advisory fee. But suddenly, I knew it wasn't. I quietly got out of bed and turned on the computer. Moonlight fell coldly across the screen. I started going through the accounts. The first entry, the second, the third. My fingers began to go numb. The family fund account looked perfectly normal, but when I opened the details, I saw it had been split into more than a dozen sub-accounts. Each one had a name: Real Estate Trust A, Education Fund B, Medical Reserve C. My name was listed under beneficiary, but I couldn't touch the money, not a single dollar. Then I checked the property records. The apartment we live in had been transferred into a trust last month. The trust carried Daniel's family name. The beneficiary was me. The controller was Daniel. Then I saw the expense records under Medical Reserve C. For the past 3 months, a large sum had been transferred out every month. The recipient, the best private obstetrics hospital in New York. Lily's prenatal exams, hospitalization, nutrition costs, all paid from there. Cold sweat broke out across my back. This wasn't a sudden betrayal. It had been planned long ago, step by step, precise like a surgical procedure. The next morning, Daniel handed me a document. Family Adjustment Agreement, he said. "Take a look. If there's no problem, sign it." His tone was gentle, almost caring, but the words on the page were ice cold. The clauses were vaguely worded. But everyone pointed to the same outcome. If I agreed to the adjustment, I would be giving up all my assets. What does this mean? I pretended not to understand. My fingers were shaking. Daniel explained patiently, like he was teaching a child. It's just some adjustments to family roles. From now on, you'll mainly take care of household matters, looking after Lily and the baby. I'll focus on earning money. He looked at me sincerely. This is good for all of us. Evelyn, you understand me better than anyone. You know I need a stable home front. I nodded and said I needed time to read it carefully. He left, satisfied. The moment he was gone, I grabbed my phone and photographed every page, uploaded them to the cloud, sent them to a newly created email address. My hands were shaking badly, but every shot was perfectly clear. When I finished, I collapsed onto the couch, feeling all the strength drain out of my body. This wasn't a divorce. It was a manhunt, and I was the prey being slowly surrounded. But suddenly, a question occurred to me: can prey become the hunter? The moment the thought surfaced, I stopped shaking. I booked a flight to Miami. I didn't tell Daniel. Before boarding, I sent him a text: I'm going to the beach to clear my head. As the plane took off, I watched New York shrink below me, and a strange feeling settled in, like running away. And yet, like a test. A test of what? A test of his reaction. Within the first hour of arriving in Miami, my phone rang. Not "Are you okay?" Not "When are you coming back?" Daniel's voice was cold, like ice. You disrupted my predetermined plan, Evelyn. There's a family physician appointment next week. You need to be there. I need some time, I said. I'm giving you 24 hours. He cut me off. Be back by tomorrow night. Otherwise, deal with the consequences. The call ended. 10 minutes later, a notification popped up. My credit cards had been frozen. 5 minutes after that, an email from the insurance company arrived. My private medical insurance had been suspended. The last message was from Daniel. Your green card renewal starts next month. I hope you think this through. My green card. I only had it because of him. My hands and feet went cold. This time it wasn't heartbreak, it was fear. Real fear. Sharp, piercing fear. Then Lily texted me. A long message. She said she was sorry. Said she didn't mean for this to happen. Said she had no choice. Said Daniel promised her he would handle everything and that it wouldn't affect me. The last line read, Sister, can you understand me? Why should women make things hard for other women? I stared at the message and suddenly felt like laughing. Understand? Then Daniel called again. This time his tone was softer. Evelyn, come back. We need you. Lily's emotions are unstable. It's not good for the baby. You're the most sensible one. Think about the bigger picture. The bigger picture. I was just a chess piece in that picture. So was Lily. And suddenly, I understood. We were both on his chessboard. He moved us, arranged us, all to win his game. But what if I didn't want to be a chess piece anymore? I opened my contacts and found a name I hadn't spoken to in years. Nathan, Daniel's college classmate, also a lawyer. 3 years ago, he had said to me privately, Evelyn, if you ever need help, come to me. I hadn't understood what he meant back then. Now I did. I texted him, Nathan, I need help. 3 seconds later, he replied, send me the address. I'll be there tomorrow. Nathan hadn't arrived yet. Daniel came first. He was waiting downstairs at my hotel. When I walked back from the beach, he stepped out of the car and grabbed my wrist. Hard. My wrist turned red instantly. We need to talk, he said, expressionless. He pulled me into the car. The driver raised the privacy partition. I've come up with a solution, Daniel said, in the tone of a meeting briefing. You go home. Take care of Lily during her pregnancy. After she gives birth, you help take care of the baby. He looked at me seriously. You handle stability. She handles giving birth. I handle our future. That's the most rational division of labor. I stared at him, unable to believe what I was hearing. You're telling me to take care of your mistress? And your illegitimate child? Don't use those words. Daniel frowned. They're family members. Evelyn, you're the best fit for the stable role. Lily is too emotional, she can't do it. When he said you're the best fit, it sounded like praise. Praising me for being compliant, for being easy to control, for not making a fuss. I refuse, I said. My voice was calm. I surprised myself. Daniel's expression changed. Not anger. Surprise. Like a software bug. What did you say? I said I refuse. I looked straight into his eyes. I'm not your employee, Daniel. I'm not a component in your system. He stared at me for a long time. Then he raised his hand and slapped me. Loud. My head snapped to the side. My ears rang. He leaned in close. His voice was low, but every word was enunciated clearly. You can't survive without me, Evelyn. Your green card. Your life. Everything you have, I gave it to you. Without me, you're nothing. He let go. Straightened his suit jacket. I want to see you in New York tomorrow night. This is your final warning. He got out of the car. Left me there alone. My face burned with pain, but my mind was clearer than it had ever been. That slap woke me up. I wiped the blood from the corner of my mouth and took out my phone. I texted Nathan, don't come to Miami. Then another message, I'm going back to New York. We start planning. Nathan came anyway. We met in the airport lounge. After he heard everything, including the slap, his face remained expressionless. Then he said, Daniel is using a classic high IQ male control model. He took out his tablet and drew a triangle. He's at the top. 2 women at the bottom. He makes you compete. Makes both of you depend on him. Then he systematically transfers assets, strips emotional bonds, and finally completes the replacement. He looked at me. If you don't go back now, they'll define you. A crazy woman. An irresponsible wife. An emotionally unstable outsider. Public opinion will side with them because Lily is pregnant. I understood. Divorce wasn't the most terrifying thing. The most terrifying thing was becoming the villain in his story. So what do? I asked. Nathan put the tablet away. Step 1, return to the nest. Pretend to surrender. Pretend to accept. Step 2, lure the enemy. Let them expose their worst behavior in front of you. Collect evidence, every kind. Step 3, preserve proof. Leave stains he can't erase, legally, publicly, and professionally. He looked straight at me. The goal isn't divorce, Evelyn. It's structural liquidation. Make the system he built turn around and devour him. I took a deep breath. Do I need to sign anything? Retainer agreements, legal fees. Nathan shook his head. I owe you a favor. Remember? I froze. 3 years ago, Daniel's medical malpractice case. Nathan said. You were the one who noticed the time discrepancy in the medical records. You saved his career. But he never told you how serious it really was. Did he? I nodded. Back then, Daniel had only said it was a small problem. That wasn't small, Nathan said. It was enough to permanently strip him of his medical license. You saved him, but he treated you like an idiot. I looked at Nathan and suddenly understood why he was helping me. It wasn't sympathy. He despised Daniel too. I understand, I said. I opened my phone and booked a flight back to New York. That night's flight, I walked into the house with my head lowered. Daniel was sitting on the couch. When he saw me, a satisfied look spread across his face, like an owner watching a runaway dog come home on its own. A wise choice, he said. Lily stepped out of the guest room. Her belly was already starting to show. She looked at me with a glint of victory in her eyes. You're back, sis, she said sweetly. I was so worried about you. I said nothing. I dragged my suitcase into my room. That night, Daniel brought me a contract, a caregiving agreement. He said, it clarifies responsibilities and compensation. Sign it, it protects you too. I opened it. The terms were brutal, like a modern-day slave contract. I was responsible for all of Lily's daily care, on call 24/7. My compensation was continued residence in the house and retention of the title of wife. If anything happened to Lily or the baby, I would bear full responsibility. After reading it, I looked up. Add one clause, I said. Daniel raised an eyebrow. What clause? If any risk arises from Lily's own actions, and I provide prior written notice, I am exempt from liability, and I retain the right to record the entire caregiving process, including audio and video, to ensure procedural compliance. I spoke slowly and professionally, like I was reciting medical protocol. Daniel froze for a moment, then laughed. You really take this seriously, he said mockingly. Fine, add it. He thought I was nitpicking details. He didn't realize I was building an evidence archive. The contract was signed, officially in effect. Lily was delighted. She started ordering me around like a maid. Sis, I'm craving something sour, go buy that brand of preserved plums. Sis, my back hurts, massage it for me. Sis, the doctor said I need to stay in a good mood. Don't keep such a stiff face. I did everything she asked. At the same time, my phone stayed in my pocket, recording continuously. I documented every command, every insult, every instance of Daniel's indulgence and tacit approval. A week later, I had my first batch of evidence. 20 hours of audio, hundreds of photos, scans of every signed document. I packaged everything, encrypted it, and sent it to Nathan. He replied, "Good. Keep going. Wait for them to make a bigger mistake." That bigger mistake came quickly. Lily started rummaging through Daniel's study. She said she was looking for a parenting book, but I saw her opening file cabinets. One day, as I passed by the study, the door was ajar. I heard her crying. Not her usual coquettish crying. Real crying. Fearful crying. I pushed the door open. She was sitting on the floor, holding a trust document. When she saw me, she tried to hide it, but it was too late. "Let me see it," I said. She hesitated, then handed it to me. I opened it. It was a new trust agreement. Lily's name was listed as a beneficiary, but beneath it was a line in small print: beneficiary rights limited to medical expenses during pregnancy and lactation. Upon the child's birth, all assets shall be managed by the designated guardian. The designated guardian was Daniel. The child wasn't a direct heir either. The assets would only be accessible when the child turned 25, and only if they met family standards. Lily's face turned deathly pale. "He lied to me," she whispered. "He said the child would inherit everything. He said I'd be taken care of for life." I looked at her tears and felt not a shred of sympathy. But I knew the opportunity had arrived. "You're just another version of me," I said calmly. It was only a matter of time. Lily looked up, eyes red. Suddenly she jumped up and ran back to her room. A few minutes later, she came back holding a USB drive. "Look." She plugged it into the computer. "Look at what he says about you." The video started playing. It was Daniel, in casual clothes, sitting on the very couch we were sitting on now. Lily's voice came from off camera. "Won't your wife make trouble?" Daniel smiled, a contemptuous smile. "Evelyn? She wouldn't dare. Without me, she's nothing. The life I designed for her is the highest point she'll ever reach. She knows that very well." He took a sip of wine. "She's just my stability configuration, like a base module in software. Not important, but necessary. Once the new module is fully tested, the base module can be archived." Archived. I sat there, watching the man on the screen. Same face, same voice, but the words sounded mechanical, inhuman. Lily stared at me, expecting me to collapse. But I didn't. I didn't even blink. "Why did you record this?" I asked her. Lily froze. I just wanted to keep it, as a memory. You were keeping leverage," I said, standing up. "But do you realize, it's his leverage too?" Her eyes wavered. She looked at Daniel on the screen, then at me. For the first time, her trust in Daniel cracked. That crack would only grow. Lily started to panic. After realizing I was a victim too, she didn't try to ally with me. Instead, she stepped on me harder. Like the lower she pushed me, the more valuable she'd be in Daniel's eyes. But her belly kept growing, and the closer the birth came, the more afraid she became. Because that trust document told her one thing clearly: once the child was born, her value would disappear. One afternoon, she said she wanted to sunbathe on the terrace. It was a high-rise terrace. The railing was low. The wind was strong. "The doctor says I need more sunlight, for calcium," she said, her eyes flickering. I looked at the terrace, then at her 7-month belly. "The wind is too strong. It's not safe," I said. "You can get sunlight in the living room." "I want to go to the terrace," she suddenly screamed. "Do you want something bad to happen to me? To the baby?" Daniel was home. He came out. "What's going on? She won't let me go to the terrace." Lily burst into tears. "She just wants me and the baby to suffocate in here." Daniel turned to me. "Evelyn, take her." I shook my head. "It's unsafe." I formally object, in writing. I took out my phone and typed on the spot, sending the message to the family group chat, given the strong winds on the terrace, insufficient railing height, and the fact that the pregnant individual is 7 months along. I object to going to the terrace at this time. I recommend sun exposure indoors. Risks have been clearly communicated. After sending it, I photographed the terrace, the railing height up close, the wind speed display. Lily's expression shifted, but Daniel grew impatient. Enough already, Evelyn. Take her out. I nodded. Fine, but I'll be recording the entire time to ensure procedural compliance. That was my contractual right. Lily clenched her teeth. Record it. Then, we went to the terrace. I turned on video recording. I stayed 3 steps away from her the entire time, one hand hovering near the emergency call button. Lily paced back and forth. Suddenly, she slipped. She really slipped. She screamed and toppled toward the railing. I rushed forward, but I didn't touch her. I slammed the emergency button and shouted, "Careful! Grab the railing!" She grabbed it. She didn't fall, but she collapsed onto the ground. Her face drained of color. My stomach, it hurt so much. An ambulance arrived. At the hospital, the examination showed a minor impact. The fetal heart rate was slightly elevated. Observation was required. When Daniel arrived at the hospital, the first thing he did was slap me, again. "How did you take care of her?" he shouted. Lily cried from the hospital bed. "She tried to kill me and my baby. She did it on purpose." I said nothing. After they finished yelling, I took out my phone. This is the full recording. This is the written risk notification. And this is the hospital's wind speed report. I sent everything to Daniel, copying Nathan. "And one more thing," I said calmly. Before Lily slipped, I saw her pour out nearly half a bottle of baby oil on the ground. The bottle is still in the corner of the terrace. For the first time, Daniel's face changed. Lily's crying stopped abruptly. That night, Lily did something insane. She uploaded an edited version of the video online, only the clip where I appeared to coldly stand by as she fell. She paired it with a tearful caption, "My husband's ex-wife tried to kill my baby. What should I do?" The video went viral. Overnight, I became the most vicious woman on the internet. When public opinion exploded, Nathan told me not to speak. "Wait," he said. "Wait until the attention peaks." I waited 3 days. During those 3 days, Daniel forced me to sign a written apology. Lily gave media interviews, crying beautifully on camera. My photos spread everywhere. Everyone cursed me as heartless and venomous. On the 3rd day, the topic hit #1. Nathan said, "Now, we released the full video, 47 minutes, start to finish." It included Lily pouring the baby oil herself. It included me shouting, "Careful." It included her whispering to Daniel before the ambulance arrived, "Now she's finished." We also released the hospital wind speed report, the railing measurements, and my prior written risk warning. Finally, we released a backup from Lily's own phone, a screen recording of her editing the video, clearly showing how she cut out the crucial footage. Public opinion reversed instantly. The same people who had pitted Lily the day before now condemned her even more viciously. Manipulative mother, staging drama at the expense of her own child, the most poisonous kind of woman. Daniel was exposed as well. Reporters uncovered that he had enabled his mistress to frame his wife, that his luxury home was shielded through tax avoidance trusts, and that his family fund had been supporting both wife and mistress simultaneously. The hospital issued a statement. All of Daniel's surgeries were suspended pending investigation. Investors pulled out. Partners canceled contracts. The night Daniel came home, his face was gray. He looked at me like he was seeing me for the first time. "You set me up," he said. "You set me up first." I replied. Every step of the way, Lily completely collapsed. She smashed things around the house, screaming, "You lied to me. You said you'd protect me for life." Daniel looked at her coldly. "You were stupid. Who else is there to blame?" In that moment, the light in Lily's eyes went out completely. Daniel asked to negotiate. At a law firm. He brought his lawyer. I came alone. "We'll divorce amicably," he said. "I'll give you an apartment and $5 million in cash. You withdraw the lawsuits and tell the public we simply fell out of love." His lawyer added, "These are very generous terms. Ms. Evelyn." I looked at Daniel. "Do you know where you went wrong?" I asked. He frowned. You went wrong when you thought I was still the Evelyn from 3 years ago, the woman who believed love could solve everything. I took out the documents Nathan had prepared. This is the asset freeze application. All accounts under your name, including offshore accounts, are now frozen. This is a complaint filed with the medical board regarding your violation of professional ethics, having a relationship with a patient. Lily was originally your patient, wasn't she? And this is the report to the tax authority, containing preliminary evidence of your use of trusts to evade taxes. Daniel's face drained of color. You can't do all this. I can't do it alone. I said, but many people can. Interns you bullied, colleagues whose credit you stole, investors you deceived. I leaned forward. Your biggest mistake was believing the world revolved around you. In reality, a lot of people have been waiting a long time for you to fall. Daniel's lawyer began wiping sweat from his forehead. Daniel himself was shaking. Suddenly, he stood up, walked around the table, and dropped to his knees in front of me. A real kneel. Evelyn, I was wrong. I was truly wrong. Please forgive me. Let's start over. I swear, he cried, tears streaming down his face. I looked at him, the man who once seemed like a god, the man who said I was just a stability configuration, now kneeling on the floor, begging me. I felt nothing, like looking at a stranger. I don't forgive you, I said. What I want is for the system you built to collapse, completely. Daniel began cutting Lily off. He shut down all her cards, kicked her out of the apartment, told the outside world he had been misled by her. Lily suddenly realized she had nothing. She came looking for me, waited downstairs at my newly rented apartment. Let's team up, she said, her eyes sunken. We sue him together. I know more about what he's done. I looked at her belly. 8 months. Huge. What you should be worrying about is the baby, not revenge. I said, don't you hate him? She screamed. I do, I said, but I won't team up with you. Why? Because you chose to enter this game willingly. I said, you knew he had a wife and still went after him. You wanted a shortcut, trading a child for wealth. You just lost the bet. She stared at me. Her expression shifted from pleading to hatred. You'll regret this, she screamed as she stormed off. After that, she went crazy online. She posted explicit photos, uploaded intimate videos with Daniel, exposed all kinds of so-called inside stories. But no one believed her anymore. Public opinion labeled her a crazy woman, said she brought it on herself, said she was unfit to be a mother. She disappeared completely. Some said she went back to her hometown. Some said she had an abortion. No one really knew. I didn't want to know. Nathan asked me, don't you feel any sympathy for her? I thought about it. Sympathy. Yes, I said. Alliance. No. Some paths are chosen. 1 week before trial, Daniel made his final move. He tried to transfer overseas assets, but Nathan had already set alerts on every account. The transfers failed. He tried to pull strings at the medical board, but public pressure was too intense. No one dared help him. He tried to contact the media, playing the victim, but the media now only wanted more dirt. The night before the trial, he called me. Evelyn, I surrender. His voice was hoarse. I'll give you anything you want. Just don't let it go to court. If it does, I'm finished. I didn't speak. I'm begging you. He cried. For the sake of our marriage, for the sake of our marriage. I said slowly. When you treated me as a transitional configuration, did you ever think about that? I hung up, turned off my phone. The trial was live-streamed. All of New York was watching. Daniel was found to be the at-fault party in the marriage. The judge used words like systematic emotional manipulation, economic deprivation, and public humiliation. Property ruling. I recovered all marital assets in full, including everything he had moved into trusts, including every dollar he spent on Lily, fully clawed back. Professional consequences. The medical association permanently recorded his violations. He retained his license, but he would never be promoted again, never be a department chief. Most importantly, public opinion set the narrative. He wasn't an elite. He was a polished egotist, a control freak, a systematic exploiter. He lost control in court. He shouted, accused the judge of being bribed, accused me of framing him. As the bailiffs dragged him out, he was still yelling, like a madman. I sat at the plaintiff's table, very calm. Nathan asked me, How do you feel? I thought for a moment. Like finishing a major surgery. I said, the tumor's been removed. It hurt, but it won't hurt again. I restarted my career. Not as Daniel's wife. As Evelyn, consultant for a medical device company. I invested the money I recovered into myself. Studied. Got certifications. Built a team. The media wanted interviews. I declined most of them, accepting only one in-depth interview with a serious outlet. I said, I'm not a goddess of revenge. I'm just someone who woke up. When the piece came out, many people supported me. Many women said my story gave them the courage to leave bad relationships. Nathan stayed by my side. 3 months after the trial, he took me out to dinner. Evelyn, he said, can I pursue you now? I smiled. You can try. I said, but I don't promise anything. He nodded. That's enough. A month later, I found out I was pregnant. My child, Nathan's and mine. When I found out, I wasn't afraid, not anxious, just calm. For the first time, I felt that my future wasn't designed by someone else. It was built by me. When I returned to New York on business, I saw Daniel in a convenience store. He was buying the cheapest bread and milk. His card was declined. He swiped again, declined again. He pulled out cash, counting coins. His hands were shaking. The clerk tapped the counter impatiently. He looked up and saw me. We both froze. He looked 10 years older. Wrinkled clothes. Deep eye bags. He tried to say something. His mouth moved. I nodded, like to a stranger. Then I turned around. Nathan was waiting at the door and took my hand. With my other hand, I gently touched my pregnant belly. We left. As I stepped outside, I glanced back. Daniel was still standing there, watching us. His eyes were empty, like someone looking into another world. A world he would never enter again. In the car, Nathan asked me, "You okay?" I nodded, looking out at the New York nightscape. I remembered what Daniel once said to me, "You're nothing without me." Now I know the truth. Leaving him is how I became everything. The real victory is this: you no longer get to define who I am.